All right, I got a super exciting set of videos that are going to be coming out on this slide-in truck camper build. It's something that I've been thinking about for a long, long time, and I finally got enough time and put it all together, and I started to build it. I have been thinking about this for a long, long time. And I'm actually probably about halfway through the project, even though you guys are just watching the first series now. So there's going to be, if you're interested, following along, probably around 10 episodes or so. I don't know how it goes, but going to take it in chronological order. The goal of this build is to try to use as many common, Home Depot available, Harbor Freight available, Amazon available products, and build a slide-in truck camper. So what I got going on here is 2019 Ram, and it's a short bed. So I am going to try to get this thing inside the short bed, and what you're seeing is just the base of the tub there. Just doing kind of like basic construction, like you would kind of see in framing, 16-inch on center. And on the base, I'm just using 1/2-inch OSB on both sides, and I'm sandwiching stick framed of the 2x2s in there, and in between that is the insulation that you see, and that's held down with some construction adhesive, and then in between that is also some great stuff, expanded foam in any of the gaps and stuff. So I thought that was a pretty good base. In hindsight, I probably wouldn't use this kind of type of foam. I would use like the closed cell type of foam that is like in the more rigid type of insulation. It comes in like the pink sheets or whatever. I'll put a comment in here to say exactly what I'm talking about, but not this kind right here, for a couple different reasons. This coating on it, like the foil, and then on the other side too, doesn't really stick as well as I'd like, and I don't think it's structurally as sound or as strong either. So anyhow, as you can see, I kind of just basically framed out this base after measuring it and trying to get a good fit in the back of that pickup truck. It is a short bed, like I said, so I think it's only got around 5.5 or 5'7" back in the bed. So my goal on this is I wanted to use every last little square inch of available space inside the bed of the truck. And that's why I decided to, kind of design it the way I am. I know, some guys, they just make one kind of right angle that goes straight up on the wall right there and then over on the rail of the truck, which is fine. You can get some extra storage and stuff in there too. But I decided not to. I wanted to maximize the most inside square foot as possible, mainly because, again, this is a short bed truck, and space is limited on the inside. So you can kind of see the framing method I'm using there. It did take a little bit longer than usual on those 2x2s. I had to actually pre-drill the screws before I put them in because there was some splitting. But I really didn't have too many plans on this written down. I mean, I just did, like you saw, just a little bit of sketches here and there. But like I said, I've been thinking about this for a long, long time, and I kind of knew how I wanted to design it and how I wanted to work it. I'm doing kind of like a cantilever system with the 2x4s. So wherever you see a 2x4 in there, that's kind of more of a structural component, and then filling in with the 2x2s, and then with OSB for sheathing. So if I had to do it over again, I would do some things differently. Like I probably wouldn't use OSB. I'd probably just use plywood, etc., and some other things we'll talk about later in the series. But for now, I'm actually pretty happy with it. And this is going to be customized for this truck bed. I plan on keeping this truck for a while, and it's relatively low miles. It's a 2019 classic Ram 1500, and one of my goals on this was I wanted to be able to close the back tailgate, and I came up with a couple little designs to maximize every little last square inch. I have some hatches and stuff on the back, which you'll see later on in the series. But that was one of my goals. I wanted to do that for maneuverability, and so I could, park in pretty much any parking space outside. Height not included. But in terms of like fitting in a parking space and backing up with using the backup camera that's on the tailgate, I wanted to be able to close that tailgate, and also for a little bit of security as well. And plus, I do have a boat, and I do have a trailer that my son and I would go out four-wheeling. So I also wanted to be able to close the tailgate, have the camper on there if we wanted to do a little bit of camping or overnight, and go ATVing or whatever, and be able to tow the trailer. So for a lot of different reasons, I wanted to be able to close that back tailgate. I see, some of these that are like bigger and they hang out, and that's fine. It just wasn't what I wanted to do. So I'm kind of pointing out here, how I framed this and how I constructed it. I did put it on a couple of skids of decking. And the reason I put the decking on the bottom was just to lift it up just a little bit, because I didn't want any kind of moisture or water to puddle down there. I didn't want to cause any rotting or anything like that over time, even though it's pretty secure from the weather. I'll show you that later in other videos. But you can kind of see my method here. I'm really just kind of like framing it in place, because I wanted also this build to go as close as possible to the lines of the truck, so some of the campers, they stick out pretty proud from the walls of the truck on the outside, and they stick out far. I didn't really want that from a design perspective. Aerodynamics kind of were in there just a little bit. So what you see here is all the 2x4s were for the structural parts of it, for lifting it in and out of there with the jacks. And then on top there's full 2x4s too, and that helps with the cantilever for the overhead bed part of it. So right there is going to be the support for the other front jack 2x4 that's going to go in there. So this is kind of the generic shape of it now that it's been rough framed. And I think you can see in there that I tried to use as much design as possible to make it not look homemade, even though it is a homemade truck camper, and also to provide, a little bit more streamline, a little bit more aerodynamics, things like that. So I had some compromises, but I also had kind of like some aesthetics and some looks that I also wanted to accomplish. But I think it's turning out really, really nice. So in the future videos, I'm going to be, cladding this with OSB. Not sure if that would be my first choice. Probably not if I had to do it over again. But for what I got going on, it's working fine. But yeah, I mean, this was just one day's worth of work right here. Basically no plans, just some pencil and paper and only hand tools. That was one of the only other things I wanted to do, is to be able to build one of these things with basically that anybody could do in their backyard, hand tools only, generic kind of supplies that you could get from any kind of Home Depot or Harbor Freight, and something pretty simple that almost anybody could do. I did have to put like a little compartment right there, a little recess in the overhead in order to accommodate that little, I guess it would be like Sirius XM satellite radio in there. But other than that, it's looking really, really good. So if you like this, subscribe or whatever, because I do have more videos coming on this build. And right here, I'm just showing you, I'm 5'9", so I'm showing you that I can stand in there. I built it custom for myself and maybe like one or two other people in there. And I also wanted to have a window pass through. As you can see right in front of where I'm standing there, the truck has a window pass through. So I framed out just a slide-in window area, where if you are in the cab of the truck, you could do a pass through with materials, or if you wanted, or you could even have somebody, sleeping or supplies available to you, with the window open in the cab of the truck. And then also with the slider window open in the camper itself. And you can see the slider window right there. So, and actually has a screen and everything too, so you can keep it open, maybe get some more ventilation or what have you. But this is going to be an awesome build. All the materials are going to be like readily available type of stuff. and pretty much all the tools are going to be like very common tools that anybody could do. So that was kind of like the theme of this build here. You can kind of see how I'm customizing, you know, the I don't know, the outside design to kind of like match and complement the lines of the truck as well. Again, I just like the aesthetics. Also, there's a couple little hidden compartments and stuff in there that you guys will see later, which is kind of fun. And a little bit of aerodynamics too with that as well. So yeah, I don't know what to say. I'm like super excited for this build. It is like more than halfway done at this point in time when you guys are watching the video. So stay tuned for more videos to kind of like see how the progress is going. I'm really happy with it. There are some other common construction techniques that I'm doing with it as well that I think you guys might be interested in. But what you see right here is basically just the first day of framing. That's it. And I'm like super happy with it so far. So if you haven't already, like and subscribe, you know the deal. And you know, give me your feedback on what you guys think and what your experience is on these kind of like homemade builds.